Just hit unmute, bro.
What is Christianity?
It's the religion that Jesus of Nazareth established as the fulfillment of the Hebrew prophecies of the coming Messiah, and the practice of that religion, we believe, is the Orthodox Church. So Christianity for us is identical to the Orthodox Church, and we believe that we are faithfully preserving the teaching of Jesus Christ.
And what about the 45,000 denominations of Christianity?
Well, that's why the Orthodox, right?
Would you say that they're Christian as well?
Well, the term Christian might be used for all kinds of different groups, but just because they use the term, no, it doesn't grant you the status of being that. That's why it's called the Orthodox Church, because we believe that it is the church that Christ established, the only one.
Do you think that argument would hold if someone were to use that against you when you were saying that, well, Jesus was referred to as God and he was referred to all these various things, but couldn't we also say, well, just because one is referred to by something, that does not make them that thing?
Yeah, but it's not just a nominal reference. It's an actual historical lineage. And so the church of the first 1,000 years is the Orthodox Church. You can verify that by reading the church fathers all the way back to the first, second, and third century. And so that's the proof that the Orthodox Church is the true church, not just the name alone.
Was there not various sects of Christianity during the first and fourth century?
Sure, there've always been sects. Sure.
And so for you think that the Orthodox view it became it's not even the predominant view, is it? Catholicism is the most widely held Christian position.
We're the Orthodox Catholic Church, so we are the Catholic Church.
But you're not Catholic, though.
Yes, we are. We're the Orthodox Catholic Church.
Okay, so you are okay. So Catholics are Orthodox as well, then?
No, they're Papists.
Oh wow. Okay. So what happened with the Orthodoxy and the Catholic views then during the schism? So how is it that there was a schism and then some kind of divide, but now you're unified?
So we're not unified with the Roman Catholic Church. That's the Franco-Papal Church, but we are still unified as the Orthodox Church, which is the modus operandi of how the church functions in the first 1,000 years, in a synodal, communal sense.
Okay, yeah, I'm not well versed in Christian theology or the history of the Christian church.
That's fine.
Also, you don't really believe that we know things with our heart, do you?
Yeah, of course I do. Why?
Well, could you walk me through like that process, like how we come to know things with our hearts?
Right. So the heart is not a organ that is separated from the mind. Okay, the mind and the heart function together. It's just that man's heart is supposed to be integral to his knowing faculty. And so in the Orthodox view, when we repent, when we return to God, that's how we are then able to truly rationalize and see things in the correct way. So they're two different functions, you could say. They relate to one another and they're distinct, but they're supposed to work in harmony. And what fallen man does is that he tries to not listen to his heart. He tries to not return to God. He wants to have knowledge of the world in an autonomous way, distinct from and separate from knowing God. In the Orthodox view, repenting and knowing God then allows you to see and interpret the created world in the right way. So it's not totally separate from the mind or from rationality, but it's rather it's inverted. So it should be like this when it's like this.
So God is an interpretive lens, and anyone who
God is much more than that, but we do believe that our worldview gives us the proper interpretive lens.
So anyone who holds a different worldview, they couldn't have a proper interpretation of the world?
Well, they might get some things right, but they won't be able to give an overall narrative explanation or justification. So it doesn't mean that people in other religions can't know things or can't say true things. It just means that in the big picture, ultimately speaking, they're not going to be able to give a really clear, coherent, justified account of the knowledge that they have.
And you suppose that Christianity does just that?
Orthodox Christianity is Christianity. So that's the only one. Yeah,
yes.
in my view, that's the only one that can do that. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. But we do agree though that people can make true statements about the world,
Sure.
and not be a Christian.
Sure, absolutely.
And they can derive truths from the world without being a Christian.
Sure.
So then what is it that one is lacking?
Well, there's different types of knowledge, right? So, I mean, I might know about all kinds of things that aren't profitable. So, I mean, there's knowledge, bare knowledge, there's knowledge of the created order, there's scientific knowledge, there's knowledge that's profitable, like virtues versus vices. I mean, there's all different kinds of knowledge. And then there's knowledge in a more intimate sense of knowing God directly in a personal way. So, for example, if I read a book about Elvis, right? I mean, I don't know Elvis, right? But in a sense, I know about him. But that's different than if I was hanging with Big E, right, on his Lisa Marie jet plane. So in the same way, I mean, there's different types of knowledge. There's different levels or degrees, I guess you could say, of knowledge or intimate knowledge. And so, yeah, I mean, people can know all kinds of things outside the Christian worldview, but that's a different question from can they give a coherent, justified account of that knowledge?
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, you yourself just admitted that there are various interpretations of epistemology.
Well, that doesn't mean that. Hold on, no. Whoa.
Various kinds of knowledge.
The fact that there's different types of knowledge does not mean that there's different justifications. Those two different things. So I'm saying that you might be able to know those things, but that doesn't mean you can give a justification of that knowledge. So, for example, atheists, let's say an atheist scientist publishes a paper on earthworms, and it's a breakthrough in the science of earthworms. And let's say, for the sake of argument, it's all true. Okay, does he know that? Sure, yeah. Can he give a justified account in an epistemology sense of the knowledge that he has? No. Two different things.
Why couldn't he?
Well, because in my case example, it was an atheist scientist, and so atheists are not going to be able to give an account for knowledge in their worldview, because atheism precludes the possibility of a rational, coherent justification for all kinds of things like abstract objects, identity over time, principle of induction, all of these things.
So are you saying that those things cannot happen naturally? That God is necessary?
Yeah. To say that they're merely naturalistic phenomena is not to give a justification.
But
that's just telling a story. That's just stating what it is.
Is giving a justification?
No, it's not. Is what?
But so you're saying that just saying that these are natural phenomena is not enough to justify the natural phenomena.
Right.
So we must so then
it's not enough to justify the worldview.
That the physical cannot justify the physical. You're saying that the metaphysical is necessary to justify the physical.
Stating what something is in your worldview does not count as a justification for the utilization of those principles in epistemology. And that's the case for anybody.
So we can't ground our knowledge in nature. I mean, it sounds like.
It begs the question: what is nature?
That would be like a huge. That'd be taking a huge shot at like cognitive scientists and psychologists and neuroscientists. You know.
Well, I'm happy to take a shot at that because cognitive scientists typically don't know anything about epistemology.
Yes, I agree with you there, unless they come from a philosophy background. But But I do disagree, though. I mean, it does seem to me.
So
that
give
we
an account
can
for the priest.
Okay, yeah. So to give you an account of knowledge, how it could happen naturally is just through the process of evolution by natural selection. I mean,
okay, that's telling a story is not giving a justification. So this is so what atheists always do is they think telling a story is a justification. So in epistemology, justification is a specific type of requirement that's being asked for. Telling a story is not equivalent to a justification. Plus, it begs the question for what's being asked here, which is an account for knowledge itself. You can't then rely on observational knowledge of the empirical world when I'm asking for a justification for the principle of knowledge itself.
So are you asking about like justified true belief?
I mean, yeah,
so if you hold a belief, like say my belief is
right, so that's a typical
belief in God. How would I go about justifying that?
No, I'm asking you about what you said about a naturalistic account for knowledge, and I'm asking you how does that answer the problems of justification in epistemology? And you're correct to say it's questions like justified true belief. And so, how does telling a story about an evolutionary account of where you think these things came from, how does that answer any of the questions of justification, true, and belief?
So if I were to show you a display of intelligence, and to use your example, the worm, let's say C. elegans, and it was able to make its way through a maze, like, is that not justification for?
No. So again, you're showing that you don't know what the question of justification.
Kind of
no, you're showing that you're not understanding what justification is requiring.
Okay, so then could you tell me like what justification?
I want an account of the possibility of knowledge itself. Well, in the Christian worldview, it's not a problem because if God created the world in a regular fashion through divine providence, if he guides it towards a telos or towards a purpose, then we know that it's not a dysteleological universe, it's a teleological universe. It has meaning, it has purpose external to man in the world itself. And so that means that objects have natures, they have qualities and attributes that we can pick out, and because man's made in God's image, he has a reasoning faculty by which he can do those things. And he has will, he has intention, he has emotion, he has all these faculties which perfectly make sense in the Christian worldview as to how it's possible to have knowledge. So what I'm asking for is the question of the possibilities of knowledge. What are the preconditions and the requirements that are necessary to have knowledge at all? And you're answering by saying, well, I can give you a knowledge claim. Here's another knowledge claim. Here's another knowledge claim. Yeah, that's not answering the epistemic question.
I get your question now. So what allows, okay, so your question is, what allows for the possibility of knowledge? So the answer to that is, well, obviously you would need a universe.
No, I didn't ask for what allows. No, that's not what I said.
You also need agents in that universe.
Okay, how do you have agents, meaningful personal agents in a universe that's purely naturalistic?
What do you mean? How do you have meaningful agents in a natural?
I mean, you're just a product of the phenomena of the natural world. You're not a meaningful agent.
No.
Okay, then you're not an agent.
That follows. I don't think that. How does that follow?
How does it follow that you're a meaningful agent in a purely naturalistic determinist universe?
So I'm not sure that there is intrinsic meaning in the universe.
Okay, then you just refuted yourself.
But I don't think that.
So you just refuted the argument that there's meaningful agents in the universe.
Right. So I was going to say.
Okay,
that
so you did refute yourself.
There isn't any intrinsic meaning in the universe.
Then there's not meaningful agents. Then there's not meaningful agents. By the way, people that are wondering, I found these. I'm not dipping. It looks like a dip pod. It's coffee grinds. So if you go to gas stations now, they have these. I tried dipping when I was a kid and I threw up. But now they have them with coffee. So I am dipping with a coffee grind. And I kind of like.